Hi, welcome to the part 14. We are looking at real questions. So this is the YouTube handle of this channel. Please go through the playlist, multiple videos, 500 plus videos, 3000 plus questions. Now let us jump into this question now. Before you do that, parts 11 and 12 are in the Cloud Kernel members area. Become a cloud member by clicking the link in the description. See, you are creating a account, and this account you are creating in the East US2 region, and this should be able to replicate synchronously and remain available if data center region fails. How should we configure the storage account? See, one thing, you should close your eyes and straight away mark V2 here. Because why? Because in the certifications you are only quizzed about V2. V1 is obsolete, relatively obsolete, so you always select for V2. And whenever you have a choice of blob and V2, go for V2, because here the question is not specifically talking about blob storage. So we have our first answer now. Now let us look at zone redundant storage ZRS. Zone means it will copy your data to 3 AZs. Okay. So if one zone fails, one AZ fails, the data is still there in other AZ. Good. So one zone is basically one data center. So if you're saying if a single data center fails, will it still work? Yes, it will still work because the other data center will support it. So my answer would be ZRS. Now you might say, hey boss, GRS will do the same thing. Yes, but GRS is expensive. You are also doing, the reason it is expensive is because first it is copying the data 3 times into the same physical location. That means LRS. Okay, and then it is copying the data asynchronously to the secondary region. Okay, the question is only talking about synchronous replication, not asynchronous. That's why your GRS will not apply here. So GRS is wrong. LRS will only copy locally. That means only in the same zone it will copy, and it will create 3 copies. What is the use? There is no use. If that zone fails, data center fails, you are screwed up, man. Hence LRS is wrong. So these are my final answers. It is very easy to answer these questions. You just focus on the concepts I am explaining, and it will be a cakewalk for you. This is the next question. This is a question on import export service. This service is used to securely import large amounts of data to blob storage or Azure files from your on-premises. Please remember that this tightly integrates with Databox. Databox is something which Azure has it. You say, boss, give me the Databox. They will send you the Databox. You copy your data using import export, and you send the Databox back to Azure. Azure will then copy the data to your Azure environment. That is how import export is used. Now, when you are preparing those drives for import, what should you do? There are 2 files which are very important. You see this, I have searched this for you. You have to prepare the initial drive set and additional drive set CSV files. What is a drive set CSV? It shares a list of disks. Why? Otherwise the tool will not be able to pick the right disk for you. So we got our first answer, that is drive set CSV file. The next thing you have to do is prepare the dataset CSV file. What is a dataset CSV file? You have to say the list of directories or list of files that you want to copy to the target drives. So this is my second answer. Since the question is asking only for 2 files, I have my 2 answers. See, when we talk about manifest file, it contains a definition of all attributes of an application object. Okay, we are not talking about application objects here. We are just talking about data, and we are talking about import service, import export service to copy that data, and hence A is wrong. See, JSON configuration file is all about configuration. If you have something like you're trying to configure infrastructure as a code, and you are trying to configure some resources, then you use the JSON configuration file. Here there is no use of the configuration file. You just need 2 files: drive set, which will tell you the list of drives, and data set, which will give you the list of directories and the list of files. So these 2 would be my final answers. Let us look at the next question. See, this is a recovery vault question. You have a recovery vault service that is being used to test backups. Obviously, why do we use recovery service vault? See, this is a storage entity in Azure that houses data, obviously. And what sort of data? These are copies of data which has been stored as backups and so on. So that is why it clearly says it will hold backup data for various services. Now the backup is already happening. You see this box is your recovery service vault, and then you have these 2 blue boxes. These are your virtual machines. Okay, now the backup is continuously happening here. Okay, this backup is continuously happening here. The question says you need to delete this. You need to delete this yellow box. If you directly delete it, can you do it? Because the backup is already going on. The first thing you have to do is stop the backup. As an example, consider you have a plumber and you have a pipe leakage in your apartment. So what does the plumber do? He will first go and switch off the water pipe connection, and then he will try to repair the pipeline. So first you have to stop the water pipe connection. Similar to that, you have to stop this. So D would be my answer here. Now A says that you delete the backup data. This can be the next action, not the first one, and hence A is wrong. Now B says that let's modify the properties of virtual machine so that the backup itself should not happen. But this is wrong. The backup is already happening. You have already done the backup. You can change the property later, but first you stop the backup. So B is wrong. Now C says that you modify the lock of each virtual machine. Locks has nothing to do with backups. On the resources, on the VMs, you can have cannot delete locks or read only locks so that people cannot overwrite your resources. And hence C is wrong as well. So this would be my final answer. So if you have not yet subscribed, do so. I'm not sure what are you waiting for. If you want to lead the pack, you also have to do certifications which are very unique and which will add so much more fuel to your CVs. Parts 11 and 12 we have uploaded in the Cloud Kernel members area. Use the link in the description and become a Cloud Kernel member for a very small premium. The free content plus the paid content together, you can clear the certifications. This brings us to the end of part 14. See you in the next part.